Welcome to Hannity. Tonight, more positive statistics from this country's fight against COVID-19, plus more bold action from the president, this time against the China-centric World Health Organization. We have an update. We'll break down the details for you. Also, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, fascinating information that they have released from the State Department. We'll ask him about it. Also, with just 203 days till Election Day, and we, the people, you're the ultimate jury. Oh, quid pro quo Joe, the ever-confused one, finally got the endorsements he's anxiously been waiting for in the middle of a pandemic and national emergency. And after every single other Democratic candidate dropped out, and even after, Bernie Sanders finally announced the support of the presumptive nominee, finally we hear from him. President Obama stepped up today and finally managed to release an internet video, kind of weak, offering support for his former vice president. Okay, the question for me is why? Why this way? Why in the middle of a national emergency and pandemic? Last one in, did he finally decide to endorse quid pro quo Joe? Maybe he didn't want anyone to hear it. After all, if anyone knows that Joe doesn't have a fastball or even a slow pitch, it has to be Obama. He knows the truth. And get this, during his glowing endorsement, Obama called Biden the most progressive candidate in history, and he can't get Fox News out of his head. He can't. We live in his mind. He takes a shot at Fox again. Me, yours truly. I live in his mind. I don't know why, but take a look.
I'm so proud to endorse Joe Biden for President of the United States. Choosing Joe to be my vice president was one of the best decisions I ever made. Joe already has what is the most progressive platform of any major party nominee in history. Our country's future hangs on this election, and it won't be easy. The other side has a massive war chest. The other side has a propaganda network with little regard for the truth.
He's not talking about the real propaganda networks. We have been saying this for months. There are no more moderates inside the Democratic Party. He's acknowledging it. Radical group, extreme socialist Democrats that have fully adopted the madness of Green New Deal policies from the radical left. Now we got the ever-confused Joe Biden is the leader of this extreme socialist party, running on a platform that even Bolshevik Bernie's kind of proud of. And by the way, even in the middle of a global pandemic, former President Obama, look at that. He can't stop attacking Fox News. After all these years, we are alive and well in his mind. And for some reason, he never liked me. Just a quick reminder and history lesson.
In 2012, Latinos voted in record numbers. The next day, even Sean Hannity changed his mind and decided immigration reform was a good idea. Rudy Giuliani said, Putin is what you call a leader. Mike Huckabee and Sean Hannity keep talking about his bare chest, which is kind of weird. With respect to Sean Hannity, I didn't know that he had invited me for a beer. His opinion of me does not seem to be very high, but I'm always good for a beer. I'll put Mr. Burgess up against Sean Hannity. He'll tear him up.
I'm sure I'll have to pay for the beer, redistribution of wealth, but he can afford it. The thing is, he's more energetic in those videos than he was in this online endorsement thing today. And like his devout followers in the media mob, Obama, it's like we live in his head, this network. We live in a lot of people's heads. We live in MSDNC's head and fake news CNN's head, because we're the ones that dare to vet him, and we'll vet whoever is running. It looks like, well, the confused quid pro quo Joe, Super Thursday, and N1H1. We're the only ones that exposed. We did a deep dive into the radical hate preacher. We were right about Reverend G.D. America, Reverend Wright. We were the ones that exposed his ties to Ayers and Dorn of the Weather Underground. We were the ones that exposed his lies about Obamacare. Yeah, millions of you lost your doctors, lost your plans, and you're all paying nearly 200% more. And guess what? With just 203 days to go, we are going to be the only ones that vet the ever-confused quid pro quo Joe. We will hold him accountable for the horrific Obama-Biden record. Let's see, 8 years, 13 million more Americans food stamps, 8 million more poverty, lowest labor participation rate since the 70s, accumulated more debt than every other administration before them combined, and lowest home ownership rate in 50 years, worst recovery since the 40s. And for the next 200 plus days, we will continue to call out, yes, the Democratic Radical Socialist Party, their propaganda arm, which is the mainstream media mob, and including quid pro quo Joe's abuse of power. And yes, his zero experience son, Hunter, that got filthy rich with no experience. Now, you think that MSDNC, fake news CNN, the New York Times, Washington Post, you think they'll ever vet Joe Biden? No, they protected him. They cared about quid pro quos, but not with Joe and Hunter. They cared about obstruction of justice, but not Hillary's emails. They cared about Russian election interference, but not Hillary's bought and paid for dirty dossier used to spy on a presidential candidate deep into his presidency. We're getting to the bottom of that. Their sole mission, defeat Donald Trump, slander Donald Trump, besmirch Donald Trump. Same people, even in the middle of a national crisis, a pandemic, health emergency, the mob and the media predictably cares about one thing, what they've cared about since Donald Trump, Melania Trump came down that escalator in Trump Tower, smearing, slandering the President of the United States. I have said it, if he cured cancer, they would want to impeach him for curing cancer. But for the first time in years, we have a president not afraid to fight back, and he does it, well, with some power and gusto and energy. Joe can use some energy. Take a look.
We have a few clips that we're just going to put up. We could turn the lights a little bit lower. I think you'll find them interesting. We will be suspending all travel from Europe to the United States for the next 30 days. To unleash the full power of the federal government in this effort today, I am officially declaring a national emergency. We could give you hundreds of clips just like that. We have them. We didn't want this to go on too long, but I just want to say it's, it's very sad when people write false stories. We did all of this work, but when you read the phony stories, nobody acknowledges this, and it doesn't have to be acknowledged from my standpoint, but it does have to be acknowledged from the great work that these doctors, nurses, the Army Corps of Engineers, FEMA, all these people, they've done this incredible job.
90% of this country have been amazing. Corporations, pharmaceutical companies that we're trained to hate. Walmart, we're supposed to not like Walmart. All these companies, all hands on deck. The nurses, the doctors, the researchers, the scientists. We have seen the absolute best in America during a really difficult time. There are exceptions. The predictable people, the mob and the media. Trump could do nothing right. If they can't intellectually be honest enough to say, you know what, in retrospect, that xenophobic, hysterical, fear-mongering travel ban and quarantine, first time in 50 years, and subsequent travel bans, wow. How many Americans didn't contract that disease? How many Americans exponentially didn't die? How much worse would this be? If they can't admit that, then you know where they're coming from. But that's the mob and the media. That is the Democratic Party. They're working on an investigation? Another shift show in the middle of a national emergency. Oh, and he wants the media to stop covering in the middle of a national emergency news and information coming from the president. Pretty sick, but predictable. For them, by the way, no, everything they're seeing is through the 2020 prism. For them, it's about 203 days, all politics. Their rage against the president is so extreme, so hateful, so psychotic. I've been saying for 3 years, they're hurting our country. They don't care. Not the travel bans, not the quarantines. They won't give this president. This is the greatest medical mobilization in the history of mankind. We rose to the occasion because of the greatness, the goodness of the American people. And yep, the leadership of the president, the vice president, their task force, and others too. A lot of governors did well here. Now, I've said it many, many times. The media in America, it's a disservice, irreparable damage. Forget about their own reputation. They could never get it back.